Konami has outlined its vision for the dedicated esports center it's currently building in downtown Tokyo. As reported by Silicon Era, the 1-2-story high-rise will be called the Konami Creative Center, KCC, and should be completed by November, just in time for the Tokyo Olympics in 2020. It will reportedly house an esports arena kitted out with the latest sound, video, lighting, and communication systems, and a shop filled with esports equipment and products. The company will also host esports classes and training sessions at the finished KCC. Konami President Kimihiko Higashino claims the project will help Japan catch up with other esports pioneers around the world, and believes esports will become a mainstream pastime in the not-too-distant future. The people who participate in esports will in the future stand side by side with those participating in real-life sports, like soccer, or even surpass them, he commented at a recent brick-laying ceremony. Compared to esports pioneers America and Europe, Japan has still a long way to go. However, looking from another angle, it means Japan has lots of room for growth. The Gamasutra job board is the most diverse, active and established board of its kind for the video game industry. Here is just one of the many positions being advertised right now. Location: Woodland Hills, California. Infinity Ward is looking for a senior audio software engineer, someone with a strong interest in audio processing and a passion for creating an awesome audio experience. You should be comfortable working with both programmers and audio content creators, as you will be working closely with both teams. Our games have been nominated and won awards for both BAFTA and TEC. If you want to join a team making true AAA gaming experiences who push the bar for excellence every time, send us your resume. Responsibilities: own the audio technology pipeline and custom audio tools set for our proprietary game engine. Work with audio designers and programmers to design, prototype, and implement new audio features. Develop implementation plans and time estimates for tasks. Work with the content team to meet project requirements within performance and memory budgets. Support and proactively interface with the audio designers. Adhere to team coding standards and best practices. Requirements: audio programming education or experience, 6 years of professional programming experience, proficiency in CC, familiarity with C#key, strong communication and teamwork skills, self-motivated, ability to work independently and efficiently under deadlines, strong math skills, bachelor's degree or equivalent in computer science or engineering. Bonus points: deepened 3D audio programming experience, experience with middleware solutions, such as Wise and Fmod, good understanding of multi-threaded programming, experience programming on multiple game consoles, experience with first-person shooters and multiplayer action games. Interested? Apply now. Whether you are just starting out, looking for something new, or just seeing what's out there, the Gamasutra job board is the place where game developers move ahead in their careers. Gamasutra's job board is the most diverse, most active, and most established board of its kind in the video game industry, serving companies of all sizes, from indie to AAA. Looking for a new job? Get started here. Are you a recruiter looking for talent? Post jobs here. Wondersong casts players as a silent, lovable bard who aims to make the world a better place through song. Singing is the only way to interact with the people and puzzles of Wondersong, tasking players with using their voice to improve the lives of those they meet. Gamasutra had a chat with Greg Lobanoff, developer of the Excellence in Narrative nominated Wonderful to talk about how a United States-wide bike trip inspired the game's touching story, how clever characters could guide a narrative, and the power of finding a grain of positivity when all seems lost. I am Greg Lobanov, and I created and directed Wondersong with the help of M. Halberstadt, who did audio, and Vladimir Vladary, who did music. I used to make card games and board games with markers and paper when I was a little kid. When I was a medium kid, I discovered Game Maker and started making dinky little games. Now, I am a big kid, but I am still using Game Maker to make dinky games. I had the idea for the main character when I was sitting in the car while cruising down a highway. The larger story was loosely inspired by my experience living on my bicycle and riding across the United States of America in 2014 and 2015. What made it all click was when I came up with the music view interface though. I wanted to try turning the controller into an expressive musical instrument. It really was an honest expression of how I was feeling after my bike trip. I was seeing stories like Steven Universe that explored similar themes, but really started to notice the lack of those kinds of stories in games. So, when I set out to make a game with a story myself, it felt irresponsible to do anything that contributed more to the regular pile of violence and negativity. Game Maker Studio art was in Photoshop, audio was in Reaper, and music was Ableton. I made a fairly robust level editor and audio logic editor version inside the game as well. The music mechanic really opened a lot more doors than it closed. It was incredibly fun to come up with new situations and interactions that you did have with singing. We built the game up piece by piece, completely designed around the main mechanic, and tried to keep it surprising and make people laugh. Sometimes it was hard to design the story so that the player felt like they had a relevant role when all they could do was sing. But that friction naturally became a real interesting ingredient in the story itself. I really love making characters. I had a lot of fun giving everyone a unique feeling, voice and personality, and I tried to stay sensitive to what they wanted to do and how they would react to things the player could do. I call it following through. Sometimes, as I was writing a random API, I did realize they would want to have a pivotal role in the story, and the entire plot would change direction. Everything in the game is very sensitive and honest to what the characters want, so I think that really helps them feel real, and like they have a footprint in the story. Most games are built out of repeated tiles, props, and assets. But Wondersong is all about individual expression and unique situations. I wanted to draw every single screen from scratch, so you could feel even the most subtle emotional variations from scene to scene. With that in mind, I carefully designed the visual style of the game to make it as easy as possible to create new assets. The color design was built into my level editor, so I could focus on the colors and hone in on the feeling of each screen too. The game is constantly asking the player to play with music and express themselves, so it's really important that they remain in an open and playful mood. The visual style is fast and loose and fun and goofy, and I think that helps make a space where that's possible. If the game felt beautiful, like it was taking itself too seriously, I think it would feel intimidating to try to play with. Instead, the raw, fun and even quality kind of feels like it's saying, have fun and just try. That closely reflects how we felt making it, too. I wanted to make a happy game for sad people. A lot of people are suffering right now, and it's really not enough to say, chin up. It's not that bad. The story had to understand how hard it is, and how horrible the world can feel, and then help find a grain of positive truth inside of that. Optimism through understanding, rather than ignorance. Nintendo believes its inability to sell consumers on the appeal of Switch hardware and software prevented e-console from meeting sales expectations. The Japanese giant initially expected the Switch to sell 20 million units by the end of the fiscal year, on March 31st.
2019
But recently lowered its forecast to 70 million units. Although the company still managed to grow year-over-year hardware sales in every region, Nintendo President Shintaro Furukawa claims it has not done enough to convey the unique merits of the system to potential buyers. As we look back so far at this fiscal year, we now evaluate that our efforts to fully convey the appeal of Nintendo Switch hardware and software to the number of new consumers we originally hoped to reach were insufficient.